Thank you. Okay, so very nice to see you all. Okay, today I'm going to talk about something regarding the our health, circadian clock, that is, which are regulated our daily activities and so on, with how it is connected to the lifestyle and the human health. Okay, okay. So you all know, you are also having heard of many things regarding the lifestyle. Nowadays, there are so many lifestyle diseases, disorders, and our children also, they have a lot of deviation from the normal habit. Right, our grandsons, our grandmas and grandfathers used to have a different type of lifestyle. Used to go to bed in the late in the night, very early in the evening, and get up at the very early in the morning, and used to their physical activity, so much physical activity. Now it has become reversed, right, with less physical activity. And so this is our lifestyle. This shows that our lifestyle has been changed. So by definition, you all know, this is very, very common and statements. Lifestyle is a set of goals, plans, values, attributes, attitudes, behaviors, and beliefs manifested by the personal and family life of an individual. There are different definitions are there, like it is an interdisciplinary concept which involves a health-oriented view of physical, physiological, social, and the spiritual aspects. And this changes with the geography, different geography. For example, in in America, there may be a different London, there may be different types of lifestyle. And in India, it's a different, North India, it's a different lifestyle. Like, so in general, lifestyle tells you that when you wake up and what are the different activities that you do until you go to sleep. So this is the that we take with respect to the health. So there are different types of lifestyle that people have. With money, there are different types of activity. Without money, there's a different types of activity. So this is a lot of differences will be there. But I'm taking in respect to the how our daily activities and eating habits and the different physical activities or non-physical activities make us to become very healthy or unhealthy and so on, right? So this is the different the definitions that I'm not going to do in details of it. So in general, it also reflects people's self-image of self-concept, the way they see themselves and believe in their with the others. What we have to take in an interesting way is the major components of the lifestyle. So in general, there may be a different types. So some may go to gym, or some may go to walking, some may go to running and so on during this one. But in general, we take it as a physical activities. Lifestyle consists of a daily common activities of an individual. It may be a sleep waking time, meal timings, and timing of the physical activities, which is directly reflect on our health. Okay, so this is the thing that I'm going to majorly concentrating on this. So these all the activities which is depending upon the light dark cycle resulted by the earth rotation, right? Our clock, whatever the biological clock that you might have heard of, this is in tune with the light dark cycle because of the earth rotation. In the morning we are active, evening we are inactive, or we sleep. So anything which is deviated from this normal pattern, and because during the course of our evolution, human evolution or the animal evolution, so this has been our animals or our body has been adapted to such a light dark cycle, which is because of the earth rotation. Yeah, because of this, there you know that some are nocturnal animals, some are diurnal animals, some are crepuscular animal, and so on. So because of this light dark cycle, based on this, when they are going to be active, so that depends on the whether they are diurnal morning active or the light time active, nocturnal night time active, and the crepuscular morning or the dusk and dawn. So this is the ways and means of a lifestyle of an organism, and then how it is reflect on our health system. So this is what I am going to concentrating on. Deviation from the normal pattern. So this is the deviation. How exactly? Why is there a necessity for the deviation of such a one? So because you know that because of the industrial revolution and all these ways and means, there lot of things has been changed. So previously our ancestors or our grandmas and so on, so they have a different types of lifestyle, as I already said, due to change in the technology, due to change in the work hours, due to change in the competition, there may be targets and goals and exposure to the lot of artificial light has been changed, right? So you think my lifestyle is entirely different from that of my son's lifestyle, and they even wake up to 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. They sleep sometime odd time and get up at the odd time, and all these things that we have seen. Probably it's a common feature you see in your family also, that is there, right? So this has become changed because of the technology, change in working hours. So due to the, for example, change in the hospitals and all, nurses, doctors, they have the nighttime work. And in case of the industries also, there's a must, they should have to work as a shift workers, nighttime work, because production, maybe the demand for the some of the products and so on. So they need to work in all these aspects, right? And you, apart from all this, there's a competition. So neighbors have a different things, they have a house and all these things. I do not have, so I should earn that, right? So that you work extra. So all these aspects makes you, such competition among themselves also make it. So this is also very necessary, even among ourselves or in the duties. So somebody has published a more paper and I should also do it. The competition in respect to the, that may be healthy competition or maybe bad competition. So for IT people, they have to give out targets. And if you go to industries, they will give you a target. So this is a target you have to finish by this end of this week. So for that, maybe it is also one of the major reasons, causative reason for all such change. These are all the reasons where making us to expose to the artificial. Before and all, we used to restrict it to the light by the sun, right? Light by the sun. Evening we used to stay very less, and so that morning we used to wake up and all these things. Sleeping also was correct, in the sense 8 hours sleeping was there. But now it has been changed because of the industrialization, because of the change in the technology, because of the so many reasons that we have changed our life, right? We have changed our lifestyle and so on. For example, social and work activities, independent of the environment and the light. So because of all this artificial light, we are exposing to the artificial light. Even in the some of the examples, long time, even sometimes we also have to expose a long flight across the continents. You might have heard of the jet lag, shift working in the industries and the hospitals and so on. Night work, as it has become a mandatory for people to make their lifestyle. So this is a major reason for the change in the lifestyle. If it is a short term change in the lifestyle, it is fine. But if it is a long term change in such a pattern or sleep wake cycle, or maybe it is a different activities or shift working to the long term, that led to the several issues, right? Several issues. What exactly happens? If I work for 1 hour as a night shift, in the night shift? If it is there, you have a lot of things like affects the biological clock. So it affects the biological clock, affects the physiology and energy balance. Probably so some of the people who work shift, they are deprived of sleep. Daytime they may not get sleep properly, and also there's energy balance, there's loss of energy. So you may not work properly because of the lack of energy. It affects the sleep cycle, affects timing of the food, affects the cognition, right? Your brain. So taking the, for example, decision making ability. In all these cases, this has been changed, right? So your one is the main cause is the sleep wake, affect the sleep wake cycle. When sleep wake cycle is affected, it affects the cognition, brain function. So you know that brain is a master control, and as a result of this, so all physiology, all your body functions will be regulated by the brain. So you should sleep properly. 7 hours or 8 hours is must. If you do not sleep, so that will affect the cognition or the decision making ability, or it may long term may lead to the depression. So long term disruption lead to the depression. and so lead to the different one. Why such things happens? Why our biological clock is tagged to the, or it is attached to the, or it is in tune with the our health style, how our health is affect the clock, or how this is connected, what is the connection between the lifestyle and the clock, biological clock, or the molecular clock, or the what we can call it as a circadian clock. So our life, as I already said, during the course of evolution, our life is adapted. You know that what is adaptation. So for the long time, we have adapted to some type of lifestyle. So lifestyle is our body, physiology and everything, energetics, everything, redox principle, all these things are also adapted to such things, right? Like high alertness, for example. This is the circadian, this is a clock, human circadian biological clock. So in tune with the light and dark cycle, this is the dark hours and the light hours. So you have a different things happens. There are several research work has been identified that so in the 12 noon versus sleep, like that we have a from 0 hours, from the midnight to the one, you have a deepest sleep 2 o'clock, lowest body temperature, sharpest blood pressure, melatonin secretion stops, bowel movement likely to be less, and highest testosterone secretion. So like that, there are several things, several activities of our physiological activities or activities are depending on the circadian clock, or depending on the circadian clock. So if you are exposed to the 12 hours light and 12 hours dark, it performs in a efficiently, very efficiently. If you do not, if you deviate from all this, in the sense less sleep and all these things, and it is prolonged for a long time, that led to there is an effect in the activities, in all these activities. So maybe your the immunoglobulin may not be secreted in the, normally immunoglobulin secreted during the night, and that may not secreted, so your immunity will be affected, like that. There are several things. So melatonin may not be secreted normally, because your melatonin secretes during the 10 o'clock, so about 10 o'clock, where it is your sleep will be better, right? If melatonin is not synthesized, you may not get the sleep properly. So these are the different problems that we have. So we have been tuned, or we have been adapted to such a program, but that program is disturbed. That program is, normal program is disturbed if you deviate your activity in this way, right? So our all activities are rhythmic. So I keep on telling you this rhythm, circadian rhythm. What is rhythm? What is rhythm? You know that normally music and all, you may hear some music that is very rhythmic. You really enjoy it, but it is a rhythm of your body, your physiology. A rhythm has been defined as a sequence of events that repeat themselves through the time in the same order and the same interval. For example, periodically recurring. So your temperature, for example, temperature in the morning, it starts rising. In the noon, it is the high temperature, and then it comes down very low temperature in the 4 o'clock in the evening, right? Like that, there is a change, rhythm. Your cardiovascular rhythm, your BP also, there's a slight variation in the BP, and it peaks in some time and it comes down. So like that, your hormones and your enzymes and all these things, your immunoglobulins, everything that has a rhythm, that has a specific rhythm, that is in tune with the 24-hour cycle of a circadian rhythm. For the first time, this has been introduced by the Franz Halber. He coined the term the circadian, and he says for every activity of a human or organism, for the death as a rhythm, for the activity as a rhythm, feeding as a rhythm, all these things. So fast feeding rhythm, and then whether you're active during the night or all these things as a rhythm. So everything as a rhythm. So he, for the first time, he identified, and for that, since long time, it has been worked, some 10 to 15 years, for the 2 decades of work has fetched a Nobel Prize for these 3 people. One is J.C. Hall, Michael Rochefort, and Michael W. Young in 2017. In recognition of the importance of the circadian rhythm, and their work on the clock genes. Are their work mostly this young Michael Young worked as a lot of work on the clock genes, and along with this J.C. Hall and the Michael Rochefort, and three shared the Nobel Prize. So we talked about the rhythm and how it is regulated and all these things. And now we let us understand the what all the things which is regulates. So our clock, the biological clock, which regulate the sleep wakefulness cycle, and when you have to sleep and when your melatonin should synthesize and it should come down. Wakefulness determine the quality of your sleep, how long you have to sleep, so what is your need of sleep and all these things. Promote wakefulness and the energy. So when you get up, your cortisol levels are increased, and so that you'll get a more energy for your morning work. Release certain hormones and enzymes throughout the day, and fight inflammation and oxidative stress, help with proper digestion and gut function, affect things like autophagy, growth hormone, fat loss, and the muscle growth. So each and every activity that you have, most of 70%, there are several of recent work that have suggested 70% of your genes are in tune with the circadian clock, or under the control of the circadian clock. So let us understand what exactly how exactly it is regulated, right? This is the one peak timing of the different one, core body temperature, as I already said. So this is the dark, and the dark, and it is the morning. So in the night, you will have a less temperature, in the early morning, it is less, and then it peaks in the night. So like that, you have a urine volume, cerebral blood one, systolic pressure, melatonin, sleep hormone, cortisol, energy hormone, tryptophan, so thyrotrophine, then growth hormone. So all this has a rhythm, a specific rhythm. So every day the same thing happens. This is a 24-hour cycle, dark and the night cycle. Within 24 hours, they have a peaks. It goes to peak and comes down. So such a rhythmic secretion and rhythmic activity will be there with this hormone. So this is whatever the hormone which is there, it is through this melanopsin. So there is one pigment, that is melanopsin. It's a blue light sensing protein. It's a protein when you expose to the light, normal or daylight. So your eyes receives the light, and then your rhodopsin, then it goes to through the melanopsin, which is sensed by the one SCN. It passes through the SCN. SCN is the master clock, and this master clock that is present in the hypothalamus region, in the backside. So there, that activity, when exactly melanopsin, or what are the different hormones, or whatever the different protein it has to be synthesized, all that will be decided by this SCN. SCN is a master clock. This is a time where you sleep, and this is a time where you alert. So bright day light activates the melanopsin, and in the night it is less sensitive, right? Your body will not respond to the melanopsin. In the sense, melanopsin will not be synthesized. So here melanopsin, it's a blue light sensing protein. Whatever the light which is there, that blue light will be taken inside, and that will decide the sleep and the alertness cycle in our body. So these are again, it is the same thing. 6 a.m. cortisol levels increase to wake your brain and body. 7 a.m. melatonin production stops. So 9 a.m. sex hormone production peaks. And then 10 a.m. mental alertness levels peaks, and the best motor coordination and fastest reaction time. And followed by 5 p.m. that is in the evening, greatest cardiovascular efficiency in the muscle. And 7 p.m. highest blood pressure and body temperature. Melatonin production begins to prepare the body for sleep. Bowel movements suppressed as a body quiets down, in the sense during the night it comes down, and deepest sleep in the 2 o'clock, lowest body temperature in the 4 a.m. So these are the different timings. This has been in the published in the medical journal. So these are the thing as a result of the several observational. So that we have a mobile. In the mobile there are apps. They'll take when you are going to sleep and all these things. And this observational one tells you all these timings. So there is a timing for the each and every activity. Who regulates this is in the hypothalamus. As I already said, there is one region called, it is like a lobe-like structure, 2 lobe-like structure, with having some thousands to 2,000 neurons. And this is a region where it regulates, called as a master clock, which regulate all the activity, all the rhythms in our body. This is called as a clock. This is a master clock in our body. And these studies have indicated that SCN controls the circadian rhythms by receiving signals from photic signals, which influence the biological clock. As I already said, which whenever we expose to the light, so that will initiate the activity in the SCN, and this SCN in turn sends the messages to the different peripheral clocks of the peripheral tissues when they should secrete some protein and so on. So this message will be sent by the SCN through the photic signal. So this is very important, where these act as a master clock in our body. So this is the region where your master clocks present. So in the presence of the light, sun, so you through this photic signal, it sends the, so SCN activates and the peripheral clocks will be activated. The circadian clocks are biological timing system found in virtually every cell, right? You may ask me, so whether it's only in human being it is present? No, it is present in all the organisms, starting from the unicellular organisms to the, because you're all biologists, unicellular organisms to the all higher organisms. So the timing of our daily behaviors, like whether unicellular organisms or the multicellular organisms, so it maintains the sleep activity, feeding, fasting, physiology, hormone release, and energy balance in our body. And these clocks also incorporate signals from the environment, such as light and food, coordinate our internal biology with our surroundings. So I told you only light, but also some of the marine. So there are some crabs present. The timings of the food availability is also makes them rhythmic, and that is why. So along with the light, it is the food also, the availability of the food. Most of the organisms probably they live in nature. Their food may be the one of the rhythm which make them to be rhythmic in the system. And this figures tells you where the SCN is present here, and these are all the arrow marks, which is like reversible, right? So it's like reverse reaction. Like that, we have a SCN regulate all the peripheral clocks, cellular circadian clocks. So when they send the message, the different areas in the brain sends message to the peripheral clocks, right? Liver has to synthesize some of the hormone during this time, or they have to start the gluconeogenesis and so on. So they send the message, they oscillate. And similarly, your lungs are in the heart, right? So whatever the message is, that is accordingly, because you know that different tissues, they are active sometimes. So sometimes some tissues are active during the night, and sometimes there is a morning, like that. So your food, for example, when you take food in the 1 o'clock, your peptic hormone, there are different enzymes, digestive enzymes are released, right? So that is the different timings or will be there for the different tissues, and so that your peripheral clocks, different clocks that works, right? So that information will be monitored or regulated by this SCN, right? So for example, brain homeostasis, redox status, inflammation, proteostasis, lymphatic flow, neuronal metabolism, blood-brain barrier functions, and so on. And this is also peripheral metabolism, glucose homeostasis, vascular regulation, hormone regulation, and peripheral information. So this is also the cyclic in nature. So in response to the SCN, so the peripheral circadian clock, they function in the different tissues that regulate the peripheral metabolism, glucose homeostasis, vascular regulation, hormone regulation, and peripheral inflammation. And also this in turn makes the brain homeostasis normal, right? So this is a cyclic issue. Where you have a cellular circadian clocks to the peripheral circadian clocks that in turn regulate the brain homeostasis. This is an interdependent system where it can keeps the tissue, that keep the tissue healthy, and then in turn the brain tissue healthy. A recent study, 2022 paper in the medicine, where they have showed that there's a molecular circuitry in the sense So I told at the tissue level, how exactly these tissues are in tune with the SCN, in tune with the SCN. So you know that for protein synthesis and everything, a genes has to be activated. A proper gene has to be activated. So they've also studied that there are several molecular circuitry is also in tune with the clock gene. There are two important clock genes are there, PER and TIM, along with the bemol and the cry gene and the per and period gene and the TIM gene, along with the related orphan receptor ROR gene, which is in response, their activated or expression of these genes will be depending on the SCN or the master clock information. In the sense, when they get the information, so in tune with the light and dark cycle, their activity is dependent. In the sense, so per and cry stabilization start begin in the daytime, and in the night time they release the several hormones or all these things. In each and every tissue, this feedback mechanisms of this molecular clock takes place. Right, you see here, when they receive the light in the SCN, the information is stored, and then they send the messages to the different tissue, muscles, liver, and the adrenal gland and the kidney and the immune system. All this system are in the so this is in the in response to the earth rotation, day and night cycle. One example is from the cortisol and the melatonin, right? I told you the different tissues are active at different point of time, and everybody knows this, right? All because you are a zoologist and science students. And cortisol and the melatonin. Cortisol is a energy, in the sense early morning. It releases in the early morning, and melatonin is a sleep hormone. You see, red line is a melatonin, right? It's a melatonin. This is a blue color is a dark, and this is a light region. So this melatonin synthesis takes place during the night. It peaks in the night, right? 12 a.m., right? 12 o'clock. The night, and cortisol levels are black line. It tells you in the early morning, right? Mostly in the 5 o'clock, in 6 o'clock or the 5 o'clock, it starts peaks up, and then so that gluconeogenesis that releases the glucose to your blood, and so that you will be energetic. Whenever you wake up, you should be energetic. So this is the antagonist system. So this happens with every tissue. Morning, some tissues are active, and the evening, some tissues are active. So that they release the accordingly. So here the same thing, growth hormone increase during sleep, decrease during the wakeful state. Cortisol highest during the light, decrease during the dark. Prolactin more during sleep, less during light. Aldosterone peaks in afternoon, declines in the evening. Testosterone low in the afternoon, high in the night. So these are all the different hormones. So in the sense, not only the different genes, not only the different tissue, different hormones which control your physiology is also under the regulation of the clock, hormonal rhythm. So they are hormone rhythmic in nature. They're all rhythmic in nature. So like that, brain is a master clock. So all these are in the different tune. Okay. If this happens, so this is in the normal state. If this is a variation in such a rhythm condition, because your lifestyle in the initially that I told you, if there's a lifestyle changes, if you change your lifestyle due to some of the shift working or a late night sleeping for prolonged period or the lengthy period, this has a affect your biological clock, right? This affects your whatever the normal pattern that you are seeing, because all these are in connection with the biological clock, right? If there is a variation in such a biological clock, right, it disturbs your or it affects your biological clock. As a result of this disharmony or disturbance in your lifestyle. So this is heredity in nature. So it may be led to the many consequences, right? If disturbance in the biological clock, that led to the many consequences. One is the change in the mutation, maybe in the circadian gene, or maybe this shift work, sleep wake cycle, and food habit. All these things lead to the disturbance. So this disturbance makes the disorders or disease in your body. So nowadays, you may heard of so many diseases. There are diabetes cases are increasing, cardiovascular issues are increasing, and there are recently I heard gallbladder, stone in the gallbladder, or stone in the kidney. It is cases are increasing. Recently, I was talking to a doctor. He said, so compared to the previous 10 years, and nowadays the cases are increasing. He is also has a doubt that maybe there's awareness among the people may be increased, or maybe due to there are several food habits that there are changed food habit that may lead to this problem. But what I'm telling you, there is a biological clock, disturbance in the biological clock led to the many disorders or diseases. Maybe a long term have a cancer, a patient have, because you know that cancer patients are also increasing. So wherever you go, there are cancer hospitals are more now. Even in Mysore, there are 3 cancer hospitals are open. Right, metabolic obesity, right? It needs to be the second consequences, major consequences that we are seeing even in the children is the obesity, right? So obese children are increasing now. It's probably it is 20 to 30% increase in the children's obesity, cardiovascular issues, psychological issues, right? Many people, there are students, especially students, and some of they're under the depression. They cannot take decision properly. Anger, angry, all these things. There's a change in the behavior. So it is due to the disturbance. So all these consequences can be faced by the people. So it may be connected to the obesity and metabolic dysfunction, cancer, and affect the aging, right? We may age faster. So medically also, they have shown that there are many things, many problems, many health issues which are connected to the clock. Some problems, some health issues are the more in the day, and some issues are more in the night. For example, the peptic ulcer exacerbation in the 24 hours, right? In the night. Congestive heart failure, it is in the night. Apnea, sleep apnea, like that. So asthmatic attack in the early in the morning surge in the BP, a surge in the BP, epileptic seizures, migration and headache, morning problem. So, and then angina, acute myocardial infarction, sickle cell anemia crisis is more in the day, hemorrhagic. So all these problems, dermatosis, chronic pain, epileptic seizures. So it is connected to, again, it is connected to some point of time. So this also medically also shows that. So there are several problems, several heart early in the morning heart attacks. So this shows that there is a rhythmic pattern also shows in the disorders. So there are several elements in the psychiatry, sleep regulation, seasonal affective disorders, non-seasonal depression, schizophrenia, long-term effect in the circadian clock that led to the mood, affect the mood, and then sleep and aging. However, lifestyle affect the biological clock. As I already said, there are sleep disturbance, right? So your sleep. So what we are doing now, so we are sleeping late in the night and getting up the late. So there is a probably there it affects the melatonin synthesis. Melatonin synthesis are related to the sleep. You know that it is a sleep hormone. If you have enough melatonin, you will have a good sleep, right? That is affecting because of the change in the lifestyle, light dark cycle, and temperature. Even the temperature varies, and meal timings, irregular eating pattern. All this make differences with our. So it is affecting our biological clock that led to so many problems. The first one is the sleep, importance of the sleep. Everybody knows that. So 8 hours sleep is necessary. Why 8 hours sleep is necessary? Because so there are several hormones and the several enzymes they synthesize only during the night. That is very important. And then your immunoglobulin for the immunity, improvement of the immunity. So it's synthesized in the night. And if you have a good sleep, your wear and tear, whatever the wear and tear during the daytime happens in your muscles and all the tissues, regeneration of the tissues takes place. So 8 hours sleep is necessary because of all this is effect. If you prolong for a long time, such a effect in the sleep that led to there is alteration or the change in the activity of the tissues. As a result of this, no wear and tear correction or the no less immunity, all these things. It is also long term, it will have some more consequences. People have to face some more consequences. Most people spend nearly one third of their life sleeping, which is necessary for the good productivity and the health. So too little or too much sleep can cause health problems and lower your quality of the life. And altered sleep timings may cause shortened life expectancy. That poor sleep and circadian mismatches promote all diseases. So this is very important. This point is very important for long-term poor sleeping that led to the problems, all diseases. So there are several seasonal diseases also there, not only restricted to the sleep, because in Switzerland and all, there's a short day and the long day, all these things. Probably during your winter season, you may be have a long sleep. In summer season, you wake up very early. You may sufficient sleep will be there like that. So this sleep timings also varies with your short day, long time, and the short. So when you have a light, you may get very less sleep and all these things, disturbance, all these things will be there. But it may not be connected to the clock as such, because in sometimes seasonal disorders, depression will be there. Seasonal depression will also be there because of the lack of light, exposure to the light. The second major issue is the meal timings. Why this circadian disruption is taking place is because of the meal timings. Now, change in the meal timings has become more. Now we go to party and late night eating, all these things. It is increasing. It is increasing day by day, and also most of the time they'll have a evening snacks, a good snack, and that will not affect your the hungry. You may not be hungry at proper time, and so that you prolong your timings for the eating dinner. So like that, so it is continuously changing your eating pattern. So there are several human studies, there are several observational studies that show that young adults found that eating close to when levels of the sleep hormone melatonin start to rise is associated with having more body fat. Right? If you eat in the during the time of the sleep, for example, 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the night, and so these several observational studies have shown that it is associated with the for obesity. It is associated with the body obesity. And in some randomized weight loss study, women with obesity who ate earlier in the day lost more weight. So this is one random study that they have shown that weight loss study, the women with obesity who ate earlier in the day, in the sense breakfast. If you have a proper breakfast in the day, and then later part they reduce their one, so they lose their weight very nicely. A small study in adults found that a late night eating increases blood sugar levels after the meal and the following day. So even if you eat the dinner late night, so that increases the blood sugar level, and next day also the blood sugar levels continue. So this is the observational studies from the different volunteers. So another observational studies and show that people have also found that late night eating is associated with the obesity and great risk of poor cardiometabolic health. So this is very important. Obesity not only causes the problem in the body or accumulation of the fat, but also great risk of poor cardiometabolic health. So here obesity is connected to the cardiometabolic health, right? That you have to keep it in mind. Why we should not eat late in the night? You may ask me questions. Why, madam, but I have a practice of eating late night. Why I should not eat during the night? So this is I already told you how our clock is tuned to the different system. So in the one of the slide, I told you that, so your the intestine movement or the movement is stopped or suppressed during the night. There will be a slow movement will be there. It supports the fat synthesis and the fat accumulation. Here, if you eat your food at the 6 a.m., a balanced food at the 6 a.m. burning, so there will be a burning fat. So the burning fat will be there. After 4 o'clock in the evening, so they start increasing the burning fat. So there will be no. So storing fat is there, right? So this is a normal pattern. If you eat at the late midnight, midnight. So this will become storing fat will become more, right? Storing, this is a normal pattern. If you eat in the morning, so burning will be there. No fat accumulation will be there. The whatever food that will be utilized. But here it is burning fat and carbs storing all this fat storing fat will be decreased during the morning, but it is increased in the night. So storing fat will be increased during the midnight. So if you eat late in the evening, that is there. So that causes the obesity, especially the white fat accumulation. White fat accumulation. So there are several physiological, psychological studies on and some of the physiological studies have shown that white fat synthesis will be maximum during the midnight, and then when you eat late in the night. There is one study by Munanjian et al. And she says that they are from 10 years they are working on the same aspect, how this type 2 diabetes is causing, and how exactly you eat the food and without any compensating your energy, and so that by simple time management, we call it as a time restricted feeding. By simple time management, you can make a very good healthy life without making a obesity, all these things. And there is a scientific evidence is also supporting the saying that eat breakfast like a king. You all know this, right? This is a popular saying that we also use this in India. We are very famous. Eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper, right? Which encourages eating of the bulk of daily calories early in the day. So this is very important. So whatever the eating that you have, a balanced food, we call this as a balanced food. If you eat early in the day in the sense your breakfast should be a proper food with all the component, protein and vitamins and so fruit and juices and everything. And then in the next subsequent eating should be very less likely. So this popular saying tells you that, right? Eating a large high protein breakfast has been shown to improve blood sugar control in the weight loss. Several models and they work on rat models, and rat models have shown that. So if you have a very good food in the night, so in the light hours especially, and then the later time, so you reduce the food, and then your so whatever the health issues, the blood sugar level and cardiovascular issue, that has been normalized. And they have done with the two groups, with the fat models and also with the normal models. And they show that even the fat model, which have this time restricted feeding regime, they show the normal life. There are several experiments, the same disciplined mouse versus indisciplined mouse. In the mouse model, as I already said, in the first they made a three groups. In the first group, they give the normal food, a control group, and in the second group, the high fat diet with the time restriction feeding, as I already said, time restriction feeding, eating at the light hours, and high fat diet without controlling the timings. You see this is a normal mouse, a normal type, and here the mouse which is having a high fat diet, same fat, high fat diet, but it's a time restricted. Only the light hours it is given, and in this one, no restriction. So you see this fat, right? So and also in the fat, they have shown that there are several cardiovascular tissues, type 2 diabetes, all this problem they have identified in this group, and also their age was very less. In the sense, they die very fast. So you know that.
Madam, can I interrupt?
Yes, please.
Just I wanted to know, like, see, in a group, in a B group, and a C group, they have in the A group there's a normal diet. In the B group, it's a high fat diet with a time restriction. Whereas in the C group, it's a high fat diet without a time restriction. Is there like any control which they have kept for an A diet with the timings which they have kept for B and C?
I did not understand. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Now A, B, C. Now, is there any controls they have kept where, for example,
time restriction A? Time restriction A. Yeah, it is
the
there.
same
Yeah.
food
Even
with
for
the
the
time.
food, yeah, even for this, there is no much significant difference between any of the parameters they have identified, right? Say, for example, the triglycerides levels, there is no restriction, there is no change in the significant change in the time restriction, triglycerides and the glucose, glycogen, all these things, all the biochemical parameters which is used to test in the human being, the same thing has been tested. No much a change in the A with the normal diet and with the without time restriction and normal diet with time restriction. No much a change. It is there. That is also there.
Okay.
They also kept this time restriction for the normal diet, control diet. Right?
Yeah, that once again tells that like we know that once again tells that like if there is no time restriction for eating, but still all the biochemical parameters are normal, then how do we can strictly say that okay, that food has to be taken only at this particular time? And that's what my confusion.
See, here is now this is one experiment too now, because in America and all, you know that because of there are a lot of cheese and everything they are eating with the we can call pizza and all, with the burgers with lot of cheese, right? So their interest was that, right? So they can eat the cheese, but they can also be happy with the time restriction free, right? So their intention, this Sachidananda Panda, is their group, they're working on the same aspect. So there in America and all, because the cardiovascular issues, type 2 diabetes is major, right? There 80% of the people are with that. So they wanted to have this one, so they can eat the fat diet, but still they can be happy with simply they can restrict their food during the daytime, right? Daytime in the sense early part of the day.
Okay, ma'am.
Clear, sir? Okay. So this is not a Indian study. This
Yeah,
is
that's okay. Thank you.
Right. Indian study, maybe it is a scenario, maybe different.
Okay.
No, but here also they have started using the pizza and everything, right, sir? So it is now popularizing. A lot of things are popularizing now. So there is one study by the Marimuthu et al. 1998. There they have isolated the some of the girls and research scholars in a place where they have tested the different biochemical parameters, calcium level, potassium level, volume at the body temperature. If there's a irregularities in their light dot cycle, because they are kept in the isolated chamber and there no external light was there, only artificial light was there, and they have been changed with it, they have tested with it, there are different like biochemical parameters. It has been reduced when there is a no clock function. You can see the dampening of the wall, so body temperature and all these things. And also very interesting thing is one girl, she stayed for 3 months. Her menstrual cycle also has been changed, and also there is their food timings has been changed because of there is alteration in their the timings, alteration in their timings. Here in my own study in the Drosophila, and also they showed that there is a when there's a in tune with the light dark cycle, 12 hours light and 12 hours dark, even Drosophila can perform better, right? We have tested with their fecundity rate and their fertility rate, viability rate, and all those things, and they have performed better. Along with that, triglycerides level and all this thing we show. So those groups which are in the L and T cycle, that is a 12 hours light and 12 hours dark cycle, and they perform better when compared to the 16 hours light or there's an alteration in the time cycles. We call this as a time cycle. Different time cycles we tested, and those which are in the L and D cycle, they perform better rather than the other groups. There's a recent study, 2021 paper by Ravi Alada and the Joseph Bass, MD. So they have also done recently, they have also showed that there are different tissues, perform a different function. So like that, as we already mentioned about this adipose tissue, so their function, when there's an alteration in such function that led to the disease. Right? For example, this is the dark condition, in the light condition, where you have in the dark condition, peptic ulcer diseases, like I already told you, inconsistency, congestive heart failure, all these things is more during the night rather than in the day. So kidney function will be maximum, pancreas and the intestine, they're normal like that. So in the day, These are all highly functional, and in the diet, they are functional like that. So one interesting study with a different one, as I already said, if you have a change in the diet pattern and also with the the timings of the food, so obesity and metabolic dysfunction. So there are several experimental studies that show that relation between the blood lipid glucose and insulin level with the circadian rhythm. So even the blood glucose level and insulin level and lipid, all these things are in the one study by the shift workers. In the shift workers are more in incidence of having metabolic syndrome characterized by the hypoglycemia, hypoinsulinemia, and the dyslipidemia. So there are nurses. So they have used the nurses for their study and the volunteers. So they have studied this. So those who are working on the shift work, and they show that hypoglycemia, hypoinsulinemia, and visceral obesity and the complications and even the change in the menstrual cycle and PCOD. All these aspects are seen in the nurses, those who work on the shifts, night shifts. So this is one study by the Nature 2018 Nature Review, and they have connected this clock function and this one with that of the diurnal rhythmicity with that of the microbiota, gut microbiota. Even your gut microbiota is connected to this clock gene. And when your normal diet pattern or diurnal rhythmicity, and you will be normal, and because it is the major reason for the obesity, and normal will be there. And if it is disturbed, your clock is disturbed, loss of diurnal rhythmicity, that led to the obesity. That has been also tested in the mouse models. Impaired host circadian clock and feeding habits with a dysbiosis of the clock and led to the obesity in the people. So this is one in the Nature Review, neuroscience paper, and they told the circadian rhythm disruption led to the brain effects, gastrointestinal disorders, increased cancer, reproductive effects, cardiovascular disorders, and the mental health. So this is also one disruption, one problem, circadian rhythm disruption that led to the so many problems. So if you have time, I'll go through a little bit about the tips for better life, or else we can go for a question answer session. If you have doubts, you can ask me. I'll go later.
You can go ahead, man. Continue tips for better life.
Okay, thank you.
No one minds. Yes.
Okay. So expose yourself to bright light on daily basis, right? At least 1 hour or 2 hours exposure to the light is very essential to tune your clock, right? It's a free of cost. You need not have to pay anything here. Particularly in the early morning, you have to expose yourself to. So this is very essential. So sunlight is the most powerful, but any light will work. It is the blue-white light spectrum that is most effective, because you know that melanopsin is a blue light. So this is the one where you will take by send information to our SCN. For the SCN tuning, you need to this light, blue melanopsin, so that morning synthesis of the melanopsin will be more, and you expose to the light 2 hours at least. This is very essential. Getting out in the morning sunshine has the most powerful effect in the setting the optimal rhythm for the our bodies. And avoid bright light at night, right? This is also very essential. That so bright light, you expose to the bright light or the mobile usage of the mobile or computer, and this is really a bad to your sleep. So this disturbs your sleep. Many studies have shown that nighttime light exposure can lead to the sleep problems as well as immune system problems. As I already said, you got several immune related proteins which are synthesized during the night, including your globulins, right, immunoglobulins, and this will not be synthesized, so that daily routine synthesis will not be there, and so that it will affect your immune system, right? So the incorporate physical activity into. So apart from all this, there are several studies in Drosophila have also shown that physical activity play a very important role in utilizing and making your muscles strong. So this you have to, along with this, you have to include the physical activity. At least minimum physical activity is very necessary for the tuning of your clock. Eat your meal during the light hours of the day, in the sense whenever there's a light. So like Jains and all, they used to eat during the early morning and the late in the evening, in the sense 6 o'clock before the evening. That is very better for your life, for the good sleep, especially for good sleep. Avoid heavy meals late in the evening. So I told you why you should not eat meals late in the evening. It's all because of so your body will not be responsive to the late meals. So because your bowel movement will be very low, suppressed, and your digestive enzymes will not be there, so that it may be resulting in the indigestion and so on. So, and also that reflect on the sleep, and sleep will reflect on your next day function and so on. Wake up at the same time every day, even the weekends. Have a consistent bedtime and bedtime. So you should have a proper timings for your bedtime and the getting of the bed routine, and avoid stimulating activities or substances in the evening, and then have a dark room with no light to sleep in them. For example, you should have a dark curtain, so that no or any bright light should not enter your room, and so that you can get a good sleep. Practice meditation or breathing for relaxation in the evening. Do not use your mobile or tablet in the bed. Use your bed primarily for sleep. This is very essential. So in the conclusion, the most important factor is a lifestyle which affects other factors. Hence, we have to focus on changing our lifestyle and life policies in the positive health ways. So this is very essential for our lifestyle, so that you can make a good lifestyle, you will make a good productivity, and you can perform better and success in your life. That is what I'm just wanted to tell. Lifestyle is based on the personal choices and identities, we know that, but this is also very important. Our clocks are in tune with the lights. So future doctors, you need to reset the internal clocks. There was one cartoon I wanted to show you. Does anyone have the correct time? So here later, because our children, they're having a different disrupted life pattern. In future, they need to correct their timings and clock. Okay. Anything else? So this is again several studies, additional studies, eating pattern. So this is one nature review, as I already said. In this erratic lifestyle, there should not be an erratic lifestyle. Erratic lifestyle has to be led to the obesity and circadian lifestyle. We call this as a circadian lifestyle, in the sense restrict your activity, physical activity, and eating activity in the light hours. And then you will be normal, right? So,
excuse me, madam. Are there any studies showing that, for example, this erratic lifestyle person going back to his normal healthy condition, is there like any time?
Yeah, with the time restriction feeding, and the most studies, they have shown that.
Like how much time it will take?
It depends on their activity. So
yeah, like
the
like
most
average.
studies, they have shown that, and yes. Also monitor. So there is one study, Sachizananda Panda and their group, they have a mobile app, and they will, whoever or become the volunteers, and they will just have to show that what they are eating. They have to enter in the mobile app that. So in that study, they have voluntarily, they have told that this pattern of time restriction made us to reduce some fat or reduce weight and all these things. So there are several things are there in the YouTube channels. There are several speeches are there with this one. Even TED Talks, there are several TED Talks are there, such as Ananda Panda. You can just visit it. And he clearly talks about all this.
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Some studies are there with those who are working in night, that may especially those people who are having working in MNCs, the interrupted menstrual cycle, and then even lead to infertility. That is also a kind of disruption in the circadian rhythm, isn't it?
Correct.
And if we shift our culture, that means if there any kind of jet lag is there, that the same thing will be altered now. So what will be the same thing?
No, there are nowadays, that is why shift has become 4 shift now. So So for nurses and all, the suggestion has given to the government and also the different hospitals, and they are following these 4 shifts so that they can sleep. So up to 12 o'clock one shift and 2 o'clock to the morning one shift, like that 6 hours they made a 4 shift. Now it was before it was 2 shifts, morning shift and the evening shift, and they made a 4 groups like that. So there are several hospitals, they have adopted this. And also the timings of the giving the medicine timings also a lot of it. So in that direction also working on. So people are working on that direction. Chronomedicine, we call this generally as a chronomedicine, where when exactly the paracetamol should be given, so that your body will receive it properly, and so that you will recover very fast, like that. For cancer, so such things are going on, such things are also going on. But as you said, there are several industries, they have adopted this type of shift working, and so that they make their workers better life. That is working. Any questions? Any other questions?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Ma'am, my question is a continuation to what Lakshmikant sir asked. Ma'am, there are many of the lifestyle diseases like type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, hypothyroidism. They all are supposed to be irreversible. Like once you get it, you have
Correct.
to take the medication lifelong. Ma'am, if these diseases came as a consequence of bad lifestyle and not because of genetics, can this
Many
be
studies
reversed?
have support this, madam. I cannot say
Okay.
this is because of this, but many studies have support this. Actually, because of the bad eating pattern, the fatty things which is eating, and also the timings. Because as I already said, our system is ready for the only our bowel movement are okay with the evening time, up to evening time, and later it will be suppressed. So if you eat in the night at some 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, what happens? Your digestion will be disrupted. Normally, you know that it takes 3 hours for your complete digestion of your food when you consume it, right? That is normal thing that we all know. So you just imagine. So your sleep hormone should synthesize at 2 o'clock. So it peaks, it start at 10 o'clock. Your glucose concentration in your blood will disturb melatonin synthesis. Disrupts your, so that studies have shown that. So when the glucose concentration in the blood, and that within 1 hour, even a normal person check the glucose level, it will be 200 only, 200 to 250 only, right? So it takes 3 hours for the normalization. So your sleep will be prolonged or the postponed to the 3 hours, at least 3 to 4 hours. Probably it has been for elders only. It is probably they cannot do this actually.
Okay.
Are aging with 50, 60 after 60, highly impossible to take food late in the night. 1 day or 2 day, okay. This is a long-term problems. If you take only 1 day for party and all these things, or a marriage, you go to marriage, that is fine. 1 day the sleep disturbance is fine. It will not affect so much. But those who have a practice, make a practice for long time, practicing for continuation for 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. So that will have a lot of consequences. But nowadays it has become, we have seen this, right? Students, they eat late in the night and all this thing. We are seeing, and they have a increased visceral fat. Children and all, even those who are in colleges and all, they have a lot of visceral fat. So they have a fatty body. Belly and all, there are a lot of also things we are observing, right? So it's all due to the bad practices. And recently I heard that there is a 15 years boy, he got heart attack and dead. Recently I saw in the paper, very well, 1 week later, 1 week before. So you just see, we have not at all heard of such heart attack only, right? I have not heard of it. So recently after Corona, there is so much of heart attacks and all these things are there. In this age, it is very rare. It's all due to the bad eating pattern and the obesity. So once you have become obese, that led to the many cardiovascular issues.
Thank you, ma'am. It's good to know that there is ray of hope if we do strict lifestyle changes.
It is reversible, madam. It is reversible.
Yes.
So one can do it. It's all with a good, healthy practice. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other question? Shall we wind up?
Madam, I have one question.
Okay.
Madam, does environmental sound have any effect on this clock?
Certainly, sir. Nowadays, regarding this clock, they are also attaching with the climate changes, because there's a lot of changes it's taking place. In the one day itself, you're experiencing winter, rain, and summer season, these things. So your body has to adjust with the 10-degree variation in the temperature. Night it is 15 degree, and the afternoon it is 39 degrees, 29 degree. 30 degree and so on. So there's a 10 to 15 degree variation your body has to adjust. Probably a long-term effect may be there, so that we cannot deny. But studies has to focus on this aspect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
If there are no more questions, it's time for a formal vote of thanks, ma'am. On behalf of the HRDC, University of Mysore, and participants of the refresher course, I thank our Shakunthala ma'am for delivering a wonderful, timely needed talk. 2 years before, when Corona was there, all of us were suddenly feeling the importance of our health. And then we started running towards the mechanical life. And it's really a very good lecture, and we really will follow the tips you have given, and we'll convey the message to our colleagues also, so that all of us can have a healthy life, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.